So today again, I'm going to be covering another topic that's been doing the rounds online, and there's been a lot of differing opinions regarding this, and it's quite a controversial topic. So I'll just go into it, and we'll talk about a few points regarding this. So a fitness influencer by the name of Nataleebfitness, or by a real name Natalie Barnett, announced a couple of years ago that she was opening a female-only gym in London called the Girl Spot. Now, this isn't really a topic that I would cover, to be honest with you. Someone opening a girls only gym isn't a different thing. It's, people have done this before, but obviously she was getting a lot of support at the time regarding this, and she also was taking donations off of people who were supporting her online regarding opening this gym. The story behind this is that she wanted to open a gym up to not just have weights and things like that, but also classes regarding self defense, and I think things regarding, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like menstruation and like talking about the bodies and things like that, and not so much an actual like normal gym, but more of like a community thing. It was targeted more towards victims of SA and women that have felt uncomfortable in normal gyms. So that's why a lot of people were in support of that, which you can say that, yeah, fair enough. Now, at the time when she was first developing the plans of this new gym, she said it was open to both women and trans women.
So I just want to address this because when my tweet went viral on Twitter, I got so many questions and so many DMs asking if trans women are welcome at my women's only gym. And you guys are hearing it first. Of course, trans women are welcome at my women's only gym. I don't see trans women as trans women. I see trans women as women. And if you identify as a woman, then you're of course welcome.
Now, when announcing her further plans for the gym recently, she got herself into some controversy by saying that she wasn't allowing anyone that wasn't biologically female into the gym. So I'm just going to play for you now some of the video I'm talking about recently in question that's caused the controversy online.
2021, 4 years ago, I made a tweet, and the tweet referenced my women's only gym, the Girl Spot, and being trans inclusive. Now, when I made that tweet in 2021, I had just announced my plans to open a women's only gym. I hadn't thought out the vision or the mission or what it would entail, but all I knew is that I wanted to open a gym. We are now 4 years later, and I have had a great deal of time to figure that out. The Girl Spot Gym exists as a safe space for women because women are facing gym harassment, sexual assault, and sexual violence inside of gyms, and I know that because I'm a victim of it. So the meaning of the Girl Spot Gym is now entirely different, and I say this to say that whilst we are a gym, inside we are focusing on self-defense classes, Muay Thai, boxing classes, as well as workshops and activations around PCOS and training on your menstrual cycle, all of which occur to biological women. Majority of the women who are seeking my women's only gym, the Girl Spot, are coming here because they have faced some level of gym intimidation or sexual violence and assault that has been perpetrated by men. So as the owner of the gym, it is very important to make it clear how my women's only gym will be operating, and it will be operating as a single sex space for biological women. Now, we do believe that everybody deserves a safe space, and there are many gyms that are starting to have mixed cubicles and changing rooms so that individuals can feel safer and more included in these environments. But the Girl Spot Gym as a standalone is a female-only gym because it is imperative that I stick to the vision and the mission.
Now, when I was seeing this woman getting branded transphobic and things like that, I was expecting her to put her point across quite like harshly in this video, but she's kind of beating around the bush, but it's an awkward one for her, I understand. And of course you have to be careful what you say now, but I just think like this criticism that she's getting is a bit far-fetched. She's not opening a gym specifically for men and women and then just to exclude trans people in general. She's opening something for women. The physical side is really important to that. It isn't a cultural thing. It's very much like the physical aspect of it in terms of the classes talking about menstruation. So I understand that they want people who are biologically the same as them. On the one hand, I get that if it's a gym that if you're a trans woman you'd like to go to and you're being told, yeah, you can't go, I understand that that's going to be like a bit hurtful and it's not going to feel amazing. But this woman, for context and the reason why I'm making this video, She's receiving death threats and harassment. I went onto her Twitter today to look through some tweets and get some more content for this video. I can't because she's privated her account. She's getting that much stick for just going with the principles that her gym was in the first place. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand why people might be hurt by this, but you're trying to push this idea of everyone is loving and accepting of each other, yet she's getting really harassed, like she's getting death threats. I feel like that's a little bit like hypocritical in a way. I don't think she's a transphobe. Like, I think that's a harsh thing to just throw around. I don't think you can just throw that around every time someone doesn't fully cater to a certain group. It's an awkward one anyway, as it is when you open a gym that's only catered to one group. You know how it is these days. People feel left out or excluded or discriminated against. Now, one of the criticisms that she did get, which I kind of understood at the time, but I will say how she's approached this, is that some of the donations that she was taking back a few years ago, obviously that was on the back of her saying that trans people would be allowed. Now, she is fully allowed to change the idea of a gym, but some of the backlash she was getting is that some trans people were putting donations into her, and then they obviously felt like they'd been misled and that they'd given their money to someone that they now don't want to support. She has since set up a link where you can refund the money that you've donated. So she did like a whole thread on X about this. I went back to get screenshots of that and I can't because she's had to put herself on private because of all the hate she's receiving. So that's the only thing I would agree with the criticism or understand why people are annoyed, but she's rectified that now. So surely it is just something that she'll want to move on from. Now, I'm gonna try and stay neutral in this video because I don't want to get death threats either, going one way or another, because people get really touchy about certain subjects online, and sometimes it is just worth just staying neutral and just saying things how you're seeing it regardless of what you think about her, whether you think it's out of order that she's done this or if you support what she's doing, surely like you can see that getting the sort of hate and threats that she's getting, it just isn't justified, seriously. If you're a trans woman and you're upset that you're not able to go to this gym, if you want to go there and actually participate and you're doing it for the right reasons, you do think you're a woman or whatever, I understand how you could be upset by that. And I also understand the other side as well. You know, I think the best thing to do is always look at both sides of the argument. But even if you're upset by that, is it really worth the hate that she's getting? That's what I'm scratching my head at. It's not a good look, really. If you don't support the gym and you think it's bad and that's, you know what, that's cool, whatever. But at the end of the day, if they've set that policy out that it's women only, and these are SA victims who are going to be a little bit possibly on edge, do you really want to go anyway to somewhere that you don't particularly fit into that mold? How is it going to be going to a menstruation class, for example? Is that really the environment you want to go to anyway? That's the question that I have. For me, like, and I don't want this to get misinterpreted. I'm not saying these people are men or they're women or whatever. In society now, the lines are getting more and more blurred between genders and sex and all this sort of thing. The issue that you have is you do have to draw the line somewhere, otherwise you're just going to be a normal gym. So, for example, if she lets trans women into the gym, again, where do you draw the line? Do you say, okay, if you've had an operation, so that everything down there is more reflective of a woman, let's say, then you're allowed. But then if you've not had an operation, then you're not allowed. You know what I mean? Then you're drawing a line, and then people who are pre-op are going to be annoyed. So you see where the issue lies, regardless. And obviously, if you let people pre-op into the gym, you're creating another issue. You've got SA victims sharing a dressing room and toilets with someone, and they could just get a cock out. You know, not to be too vulgar, but again, where do you draw the line? And then if you say, okay, they're allowed, then you're going to have people take advantage of that. You're going to have men dressing up as a woman and going in and potentially exploiting those guidelines. So that is where the issue lies. Unfortunately, she has to draw the line somewhere. Again, I'm not putting my personal opinions across, but that is a strong point, I think. I don't know how people can not see that at least, even if you have a slightly different view yourself. Surely that perspective has to be quite clear. If you don't draw the line somewhere, it could lead to the whole idea of the gym falling apart. These women who are potentially mentally vulnerable, it could lead to someone taking advantage of the goodwill of someone, being inclusive. That is the issue that they face, unfortunately. And I understand the difficult situation that Natalie is in here. She either upsets people by saying, look, the gym just isn't for you, or she potentially alienates the people that were going there. And another point you have to look at is, like I say, not every trans person wants to take advantage of certain things. And you know what I mean? I'm not going to get into that whole debate and everything like that. But you do also have to be wary about the fact that you see the case of trans women going into women's spaces a lot more than the trans men trying to go into the men's spaces. You do have to be somewhat aware of that and be a bit cautious about what sort of policies you're setting. So for me, I think considering the awkward scenario that she was in, she was nice the way that she put her point across in the second video that I showed you. She wasn't rude. She didn't say anything malicious towards trans people. She also offered to refund the people that were unhappy about her changing the business. But unfortunately, you can't make everyone happy, and she was going to face criticism regardless of which decision that she made. So I think, yeah, let it be. If you're upset, you can express that online. But the main actual opinion that I want to put across is that she should not be receiving death threats and getting the abuse to the extent where she has to go, that she has to put her account on private. I think really it's ridiculous how society has gotten now where if someone disagrees with you, you have to try and like make their life a hell. Like that's really not a good way to go about it. And that's my whole point. Let's be less harsh on people going forward, people that we don't know. But yeah, if you like the video, drop me a like. Of course, leave a comment, anything, any opinions that you have. I like hearing what people have got to say after I've put these videos out. Subscribe if you're enjoying the videos. I appreciate any support that I can get at the moment. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.